Hey everybody, Geoff Desiato. I'm so thankful that you've come back to the Jumpstart video series. Today we're going to talk about remembering what we wanted to be when we grew up and how that can help us to identify our leap and overcome the fear of taking it. There's a quote that goes around on the internet. It's often attributed to John Lennon, but the truth is we don't really know the source of the quote. But the quote itself is very helpful. It says, "They asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said, happy. But they told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them that they didn't understand life." I remember it distinctly. When I was in 6th grade, I was sure that I would one day work for NASA. No, not as an astronaut like most children say, but as one of the men in mission control. You see, I'd been studying astronomy in school, and shortly thereafter, the movie Apollo 13 was released. These events spoke to this impressionable 10-year-old in a very powerful way. These men, the astronauts, had literally been to the moon and back, having almost lost their lives in pursuit of the impossible. Not only that, they had hundreds of other men in mission control working around the clock trying to find a way to get them back safely and avoid catastrophe. A compelling true story, to say the least. Fast forward a year or two, and I began playing the guitar. Needless to say, the dreams of working for NASA took a back seat to dreams of being a rock star. That's still a big dream, but not of the same magnitude. The trouble with that was, however, that the older I got, the more my dreams became earthbound. What I mean is, I stopped thinking big and started thinking realistically. I started living day to day without a sense of purpose and without envisioning my greatest potential as a person who had unique skills and perspectives. Think about it like this. You graduate high school after having spent 4 years trying to be something your peers wanted and expected you to be. You go off to college and try to be a successful student because that's who your parents want you to be. And then adulthood sets in and you realize you never really figured out what you wanted to be. But what happened to the little boy or girl who wanted to be president or an astronaut or a baseball player or whatever it was in your life? Sadly, we start to think we're being irrational and irresponsible to aim higher than those around us. We feel that our dreams have to conform to society and be respectable professions. But where has that gotten us? Think about the quote, "It's hard to soar with the eagles when you're surrounded by turkeys." I feel like a lot of us live in that mentality. I don't quite remember when it happened for me, but there came a point where I stopped thinking about what I wanted to be when I grew up. I stopped believing that I could do something huge. Not huge. Huge. I began to limit my own potential. Those of you who disagree with my thought process will be quick to point out that one cannot possibly base the entire trajectory of their life on the fleeting whims they had in their formative years. And I totally agree with you. If that were the case, then my brother would be a bartender and musician for the rest of his life because that's what he told his teacher he wanted to be when he was 5 years old. The reason was because that's what my dad was doing at the time. And I don't mean any offense to anyone in either of those professions. My point is not you should be what you said you'd be when you were 10. My point is simply that when we were young, we never thought that things were beyond our reach. It wasn't until life got in the way that we began to rationalize away our dreams as immature or misguided or whatever. I once read a book by John Acuff that I highly recommend. It's called Start. Punch fear in the face, escape average, do work that matters. And one of the chapters is about editing your dream. You may describe it as pivoting. My take on that is that there is always that thing that comes along that may seem like a bridges out sign on the path to your dream. But in reality, it may be that your dream is not yet fully realized. You don't have a clear perspective and clarity on it. You may need to take a different path in order to get to your destination. It's not a turn around and never come back sign. It may just be that you need more time for the bridge to be completed. I often say to people that I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. They laugh. I laugh. We laugh together, heartily. They tell me I'm funny. I deflect praise and then graciously accept it in my slyly humble way. But in reality, I'm dead serious. I truly believe that there should be a healthy dose of Peter Pan in all of us. And no, I don't mean the peanut butter. I'm allergic to peanut butter, so having a little dose of that Peter Pan in me would have my wife racing for the EpiPen. I'm talking about the boy who could fly and refused to grow up. Now, I don't mean we should be immature, but we should be willing to look up at the moon and think that we could one day walk on the face of it. Remember, the path to Neverland was found by flying to the second star on the right and straight on till morning. As for Jim Lovell, Fred Hayes, and Jack Swigert, the members of Apollo 13, I'm sure they were laughed at when they told people around them that they were going into outer space. But that didn't stop them from almost losing everything in pursuit of that dream. Though they never got to achieve their goal of setting foot on the moon, they will always be heroes to a husky, insecure 10-year-old who loved astronomy. The next time someone tells you to grow up, take it as a compliment. You're never too old to learn and to grow and to realize your dream. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you'll go back in time in your mind and remember what you wanted to be when you grow up. I'm not saying that that's what you should do, but it should remind you of a time when the impossible seemed possible. That's the approach we need to take if we're going to jumpstart our life.